Personalized pala.
No excuse not to use. Yes.
Kapal na.
Magagaling dyan sa ano, sa bakasyon. Yung August 21, legal holiday.
26.
21 hindi. Naku. Nagpauso pa naman ako kay SP. Ano kaya? Dire-diretso na lang tayo yung 21, 22.
26 na silang Heroes Day.
Pero yung 21,
Ito
hindi.
hindi pula sa kalendaryo.
Ano ganun? Mali pala ako. Shucks, pumayag pa naman siya i-free. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all rise for the arrival of the Honorable Senate President and the Senators of the Republic of the Philippines.
The seventh session of the Senate in the first regular session of the 18th Congress is hereby called to order. Senator Christopher Lawrence Go will lead the chamber in prayer.
Pwede dito? Let us put ourselves in the holy presence of our Lord. Father, we acknowledge your sovereignty over all. We humble ourselves before you. As we gather for today's session, may we first and always remember that our presence in this house is a great blessing. We thank you for this blessing, Lord, and we thank you especially for the opportunity to serve our beloved Philippines. May we be reminded that this is a privilege not given to many. Lord, we seek your guidance and wisdom for today's session so we may overcome our differences in opinion and instead put the welfare of the Filipino people first. Help us understand and embrace the diversity of this assembly and enlighten us in our disagreements so that they may be a source of creating solutions instead of divisions. Lord, guide us always to heed your teachings so that we may continue to build on the promising foundation laid by our esteemed predecessors in the Senate. May all of us work hand in hand in the creation and passage of laws that will help our countrymen. The 18th Congress is a new beginning, and along with this are challenges that come from the expectations of the Filipino nations, but these challenges also give us hope. Lord, the next 3 years give us optimism. We have seen the economy soar in a steady rise, our Filipino brothers and sisters turning away from the wicked ways of illegal drugs, corruption, and criminality, and have instead turned towards a reliable government that serves each and every Filipino. We pray that you grant us peace in the country, especially in Mindanao. Help us and open our hearts to brethren so that we may truly become a united nation. Lastly, our beloved Father, just like you who constantly guards his people from harm, our President Rodrigo Duterte is also doing his best, sacrificing himself for the Filipinos to be on the proper path. Guide our nation's Father and guard him against those who wish ill of him. Inspire and mold us to become better public servants with honor and integrity, because we believe that serving and working for the people and this nation is also serving you. Amen.
The Senate Choir will lead us in the singing of the Philippine National Anthem. The Secretary will please call the roll.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senators Angara, Binay, Cayetano, De Lima, De La Rosa, Drilon, Gatchalian, Go, Gordon, Ontiveros, Lacson, Lapid, Marcos, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Revilla, Tolentino, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
With 22 senators present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, before we recognize our distinguished guests that are here with us in the gallery, we'd like to congratulate or greet a happy birthday to Senator Joel Villanueva and Senator Dick Gordon, Mr. President. It's the birthday of Senator Joel, August 2, and August 5 for Senator Gordon.
We wish to greet the gentleman.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Very happy birthday. Would you like a suspension, or we can do that later?
May we suspend for just a few seconds to greet our colleagues, Mr. President.
Session suspended. Session resumed. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, we have several visitors in the gallery today. We have with us guests of Senator Risa Ontiveros. This is the delegation from the European Parliamentary Forum on Population and Development in coordination with the Philippine Legislators, the Committee on Population and Development Foundation, who are on a parliamentary study tour on reproductive, maternal, child, and adolescent health, headed by the Honorable Norbert Neuser, accompanied by Honorable Aurora Madaula, Honorable George Deleng, pardon my pronunciation of the European names, Honorable Sarah Hirko, Honorable Sandra Pereira, and Honorable Sili Gendal. Yes, thank you. Thank you for visiting the Senate.
Thank you. Thank you. We welcome our guests to the Senate.
We also have with us Mayor Tata Yap of Llano del Norte, and we also have Member of Parliament Joe Lorena is here representing the BARM. We also have Sangguniang Bayan members of Tingloy, Batangas, headed by Vice Mayor Roland Masangkay, are with us today, Mr. President, together with the Laguna councilors from Binyan, Pagsanhan, and Santa Cruz, Mr. President.
Hey, welcome to our guests.
Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the Journal of the 6th Session, Wednesday, July 31st, 2019, and consider the same as approved.
Any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. President, before we tackle the reference of business, we have two items that are not in the agenda. One is to recognize Senator Pia Cayetano at the right time. She has a manifestation that she'd like to make before the reference of business.
So it's
The
not
second-
it's not a privileged speech?
No, sir. According to her, that will be tomorrow. It's just a manifestation. But before we recognize her, Mr. President, it may be prudent to have our caucus today rather than tomorrow, since after the reference of business, we have a very light agenda. So if we can ask our colleagues to join us after the reference of business, we can suspend session for a few minutes and discuss with them what had transpired in today's mini LEDAC, if it's all right with the Senate President and our
Yes,
colleagues.
indeed, we concur. And we ask that the members of the Senate join us in a caucus, which was supposed to be scheduled tomorrow, but we can schedule it today as much as we have the 22 members present.
Thank you, Mr. President. With that,
yes.
maybe we could recognize the distinguished lady senator from Taguig, Pateros.
Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized. Distinguished lady from Taguig.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dear colleagues, I'd like to commend everyone. There is no plastic bottle on our tables today. Congratulations. I know that's an effort. We all have the right to drink water, of course, or whatever beverage of choice. But you make an effort because of our collective desire to use less plastic. So kung kulang pa yung binigay ko sa inyong bamboo bottle, hingi kayo kay Ralph sa next batch para mauwi nyo, para magamit nyo. Anyway, so my manifestation, Mr. President, is on a similar note. In 2010, my office, along with a NGO called Mother Earth, initiated with the Senate a recycling, a reusing, and the establishment of an MRF. An MRF is a material recovery facility. And to cut a very interesting story short, we were able to cut in half our garbage in 1 month. This is around 2011. That is the MRF that we put up. So they collect, they segregate, etc. And the garbage delivery went down from once a week to every other week, which is half. But this information I have was in the 2011, so that was the 15th Congress, if I'm not mistaken. So we don't have data, so my request would be for the Secretariat to update us on our garbage, how much garbage that we create and what are we doing to recycle it. To give our colleagues an idea of how much paper we are currently using, I have asked my staff to put together. This is what we consumed in 1 week. This is each pile is one senator. This is not even what you consume in your office with the papers, but this is what the Secretariat produces for us. This is the reference of business, the agenda, the journal. So on that note, thank you. My proposal the last time was that it's a personal choice to decide if there are things that you can forego. Like, for example, in my case, I am willing to look at the agenda on my laptop. I am willing to look at the reference of business on my laptop as well. I'm old school, so a lot of the bills I want to put my handwritten notes, so there are some things that I cannot forego. But it's just that we talk about it and we decide for ourselves and collectively what we are willing to do. We need to lead by example, Mr. President, and that's why I bring it up to all of us. Just for the body's information, that was 90 pages per senator, produced by the Secretariat for us, not even counting whatever you produce in your own offices. So that is my manifestation, Mr. President, that the Secretariat update us on the status of our MRF, the status of the collection. By the way, our garbage collection bill went down because we only had to have it collected every other week. But again, this is outdated information because this is a few years back. So may we ask the Secretariat to update us in the next few days or weeks?
I am informed that the Secretariat will be ready to inform us on this matter by tomorrow.
Thank you. And on that note, Mr. President, may I also suggest that perhaps we can have our own Senate app, because you can easily do a PDF of the reference of business, but it's not always the easiest way to make your notes or to comment. But if we have our own app exclusively for the senators, the staff, and the Secretariat, you can actually use something as basic as Google Documents, wherein you can put your comments to share with your staff. Something, again, that I would just like the Secretariat and the leadership to consider. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yes, we thank the distinguished lady, and in fact, this is a second attempt, and we hope this is successful this time. We tried it in the 16th Congress, but there was a senator from Cebu who objected. He said he cannot follow this and wanted to write on the paper, on the agenda itself. But nevertheless, this is a very good chance to try it again. All right, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, I agree, Mr. President. Maybe we can do a study, ask the Secretary to do a study. For those who prefer still to print the agenda and the reference of business, may request so. And those who do not need it, instead of it being dumped in our tables, it's probably not necessary to print, Mr. President. The House is going towards the paperless transactions or day-to-day transactions. So maybe we could also ask the Secretariat to study this further and probably graduate to paperless transactions as well. Mr. President, with that, I move to proceed with the reference of business.
Secretary will proceed with the reference of business.
Reference of business, bills on first reading. Senate number 401, entitled An Act Allowing the Use of Waste-to-Energy Technology in Electricity, Fuel, and Heat Generation and for Other Purposes, introduced by Senator Tolentino.
Referred to the Committees on Energy, Environment, and Ways and Means.
Senate number 402, an act regulating the disposal of electronic equipment at solid waste management facilities and requiring the establishment of a recovery and collection facilities therefore, introduced by Senator Tolentino.
Referred to the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources.
Senate number 403, an act establishing a national scholarship program for studies in nuclear science and nuclear engineering, introduced by Senator Tolentino.
Referred to the Committees on Higher, Technical, and Vocational Education, Science and Technology, and Finance.
Senate number 404, entitled An Act to Improve the Efficiency of National Research and Development, introduced by Senator Tolentino.
To the Committee on Science and Technology.
Senate number 405, an act providing for a proportionate school admission and acceptance share in the Philippine Military Academy and the Philippine National Police Academy for members of the indigenous cultural communities, indigenous peoples, and for such other purposes, introduced by Senator Tolentino.
To the Committees on National Defense and Public Order.
Senate Number 406, an act amending Sections 34, 110, 113, 2378, 255, 256, and 257 of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
Senate Number 407, an act creating the National Overseas Employment Authority, amending for this purpose Presidential Decree 797 and Republic Act 8042 and other laws, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Labor, Civil Service, and Finance.
Senate Number 408, an act imposing a total ban on the importation of waste and its byproducts or residues and providing penalties therefore, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Environment and Finance.
Senate Number 409, an act recognizing motorcycles as public utility vehicles, amending for this purpose Republic Act Number 4136, otherwise known as the Land Transportation and Traffic Code, and Republic Act Number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code, as amended and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Public Services and Local Government.
Senate Number 410, an act creating the Bangon Marawi Council for the recovery, reconstruction, and rehabilitation of Marawi City and other affected localities and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Rules.
Senate Number 411, entitled An Act to Develop and Promote the Creative Industries of the Philippines, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Trade, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Senate Number 412, an act prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity or expression, SOGI, and providing penalties therefore, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Women.
Senate Number 413, an act establishing the Citizen Service Program in all educational levels, amending for this purpose Republic Act Number 9163 and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Higher and Technical Vocational Education, and Finance.
Senate Number 414, an act providing a national policy in the prevention of teenage pregnancy and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Women, Social Justice, and Finance.
Senate Number 415, an act providing for the rank classification in the Bureau of Fire Protection and Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, amending for the purpose Sections 58 and 64 of Republic Act Number 6975 as amended, otherwise known as the Department of Interior and Local Government Act of 1990, introduced by Senator Lacson.
To the Committee on Public Order and Local Government.
Senate Number 416, an act redefining adultery, further amending for this purpose Republic Act Number 3815, otherwise known as the Revised Penal Code as amended, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Justice, Women, and Family Relations.
Senate Number 417, an act instituting a property regime for cohabiting same-sex partners and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Women.
Senate Number 418, an act amending Republic Act Number 7042, otherwise known as the Foreign Investments Act of 1991, as amended by Republic Act Number 8179 and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committee on Economic Affairs.
Senate Number 419, an act amending Commonwealth Act Number 146, otherwise known as the Public Service Act, as amended and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committees on Labor, Basic Education, and Finance.
No.
419. To the Committees on Public Services and Economic Affairs.
Senate Number 420, an act establishing job placement offices in public high schools to provide career services to the youth, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
This is to the Committees on Labor and Basic Education and Finance.
Senate Number 421, an act strengthening the political party system of the Philippines, creating a state subsidy fund and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committee on Electoral Reforms and Finance.
Senate Number 422, an act amending Republic Act Number 7166, otherwise known as an act providing for synchronized national and local elections and for electoral reforms as amended by Republic Act Number 9369 and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
Referred to the Committee on Electoral Reforms.
Senate Number 423, an act reducing food waste through donations and food waste recycling, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committees on Agriculture, Social Justice, and Ways and Means.
Senate Number 424, an act granting civil service eligibility to casual or contractual employees of the government who have rendered at least 5 years of continuous efficient service, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committee on Civil Service.
Senate Number 425, an act increasing the service incentive leave of employees, amending for the purpose Article 95 of Presidential Decree Number 442 as amended, otherwise known as the Labor Code of the Philippines, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committee on Labor.
Senate Number 426, an act providing for the share in the national taxes of local government units, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committees on Local Government, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Senate Number 427, an act mandating law enforcement personnel to wear a body camera during law enforcement and special police operations, providing guidelines for the use of body camera and video footage retention, and penalizing non-compliance with recording and retention requirements, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
Referred to the Committees on Public Order and Finance.
Senate Number 428, an act requiring mandatory autopsy on bodies of crime victims, deaths under mysterious and suspicious circumstances, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committees on Justice and Public Order.
Senate Number 429, an act requiring crematories to collect from the decedent's remains tissue samples for DNA sampling and/or storage, fingerprints or thumbprints, and digital photos, providing penalties therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committees on Health and Local Government.
Senate Number 430, an act integrating education and the 1987 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines in the grade 12 senior high school curricula of all public and private educational institutions, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committee on Basic Education, Arts and Culture.
Senate Number 431, an act ensuring the occupational health, safety, and welfare of business process outsourcing workers and other similarly situated professionals, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Labor.
Senate Number 432, an act mandating the Secretaries of the Department of Finance, National Economic and Development Authority, the Department of Budget and Management, and the Governor of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas to appear biannually before a joint Congressional Oversight Committee report on the status and directions of the fiscal and monetary policies of the state, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
Referred to the Committees, Economic Affairs and Finance.
Senate Number 433, an act changing the composition of the Advisory Committee of the National Council for the Children's Television, amending for the purpose Section 6 of Republic Act Number 8370, otherwise known as the Children's Television Act of 1997, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Public Information and Mass Media.
Senate Number 434, an act establishing at least one special education center for each school division and at least 3 special education centers in big school divisions for children with special needs, providing guidelines therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
Referred to the Committees on Basic Education, Arts and Culture, Women, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Senate Number 435, an act providing for additional benefits and privileges to public school teachers, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 4670, otherwise known as the Magna Carta for public school teachers and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
Referred to the Committees Basic Education, Arts and Culture, and Finance.
Senate Number 436, an act regulating the imposition of fees for the use of parking spaces located within commercial and business establishment, institutions, and parking facilities, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Trade.
Senate Number 437, an act strengthening the role of Parents Association and creating for the purpose the National Parent Council, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Arts and Culture, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Senate Number 438, an act protecting the remittances or money transfers of overseas Filipino workers by requiring the disclosure of finance charges and other fees in connection with money transfers, compelling strict adherence to the terms and conditions of their transfer, penalizing violations thereof, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
Referred to the Committees on Banks and Labor.
Senate Number 439, an act requiring mandatory disaster relief and response inclusion in curriculum of all primary and secondary schools and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Basic Education, National Defense, and Finance.
Senate Number 440, an act expanding the prohibited acts of discrimination against women on account of sex, amending for the purpose Articles 133 and 135 of Presidential Decree Number 442 as amended, otherwise known as the Labor Code of the Philippines, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Labor, Women, and Women.
Senate Number 441, an act amending Sections 3, 5, and 7 of Republic Act Number 7900, otherwise known as the High Value Crops Development Act of 1997, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Agriculture and Agrarian Reform.
Senate Number 442, entitled An Act Creating the National Institute for Science and Mathematics Education Development, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Higher, Technical, and Vocational Education and Finance.
Senate Number 443, an act establishing resource centers for indigenous peoples to enhance and ensure delivery of essential services, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Cultural Communities and Finance.
Senate Number 444, an act increasing the tax on idle lands, amending for the purpose Section 326 of Republic Act Number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Local Government and Ways and Means.
Senate Number 445, an act protecting consumers from unreasonable fee increases by providing for a consumer group representation in the governing bodies of government regulatory bodies, amending for the purpose the respective charters and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla.
To the Committee on Trade.
Senate Number 446, an act granting incentives for other benefits to rural health unit doctors and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Local Government and Committee on Health.
Senate Number 447, an act to enhance the use of national wealth for local development by amending certain provisions in Book 2 of Republic Act 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
The Committee on Local Government.
Senate Number 448, an act prohibiting the use of words that would denote religious, regional, or ethnic affiliation in print, radio, television, including cable television and other forms of broadcast media, to refer to or describe any person suspected or convicted of a crime or unlawful act and providing penalties therefore, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Public Information and Mass Media.
Senate Number 449, an act upgrading the position of sanitation inspector to the next higher salary grade and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Civil Service and Local Government.
Senate Number 450, an act imposing stiffer penalties for child abuse, exploitation, and discrimination, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 7160 as amended, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Justice and Women.
Resolutions. PS Resolution Number 53, entitled Resolution Directing the Appropriate Senate Committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the recent reports of alleged undistributed and unutilized drugs and medicines by the Department of Health with the end in view of instituting reforms within the agency as to proper management and dispersal of procured drugs and medicines, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committee on Health.
PS Resolution Number 54, resolution directing the appropriate Senate committees to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the UNESCO World Heritage Committee recommendation encouraging the Philippine government to complete the archaeological and heritage impact assessment on the Binondo Intramuros Bridge project as soon as possible with the end in view of preserving World Heritage sites through better urban planning, introduced by Senator Binay.
To the Committee on Basic Education, Arts and Culture.
PS Resolution Number 55, resolution urging the Senate Committee on Public Services to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the provincial bus ban to be implemented with the end goals of ensuring viability and connectivity of the integrated transport terminals and ultimately encouraging the public to use the public transport, introduced by Senator Poe.
To the Committee on Public Services.
PS Resolution Number 56, resolution directing the Senate Committee on Agriculture and other appropriate Senate committees to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the status of the implementation of the Sugar Industry Development Act of 2015, particularly on the reported failure of the Department of Budget and Management to include the mandatory appropriation of 2 billion pesos in the General Appropriations Act and the non-implementation of the Sugar Regulatory Administrator of the programs under SIDA, introduced by Senator Zubiri.
To the Committees on Agriculture and Finance.
PS Resolution Number 57, resolution directing the appropriate Senate Committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the impact of the liberalization of rice importation, exportation, and trade on production and farm gate price of palay and retail price of the rice with the end in view of protecting the interests and welfare of Filipino rice farmers and consumers, introduced by Senator Recto.
Refer to the Committees on Agriculture and Trade.
PS Resolution Number 58, resolution directing the Senate Committee on Electoral Reforms and People's Participation to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the current party list system with the end in view of amending Republic Act Number 7941, otherwise known as the Party List System Act, to prevent abuse and to harmonize the definition and mechanism of the party list system of representation with the genuine intent of the Constitution, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Electoral Reforms.
PS Resolution Number 59, resolution to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the operations and performance of the Land Bank of the Philippines in compliance with its mandate as provided by law, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Banks and Agrarian Reform. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we suspend session for a few minutes to discuss the topic this morning's LEDAC for small caucus, we'd just like to remind our colleagues that the distinguished gentleman from Zambales has arrived, Senator Richard Gordon, so that once we suspend, we can greet him a happy birthday and that he should not forget his treat afternoon treat. He's blowout, Mr. President. With that, I move to suspend session for a few minutes for a
Yes,
caucus, Mr. President.
We would like to call on all the members of the Senate to join the All Senator Caucus in the Senators' Lounge. Session is suspended for a few minutes.
Oy, this is a great book.
Session resumed.
Mr. President, while we're waiting for the additional reference of business, I move that we elect the members, I move to nominate, elect the members of the Joint Congressional Energy Commission for the 18th Congress. For the majority, Senator Sonny Angara, Senator Nancy Binay, Senators Richard Gordon, Senator Coco Pimentel, Senator Grace Poe, and for the minority, Senator Risa Ontiveros. I so move, Mr. President. The chair of this committee is Senator Win Gatchalian.
Any objection? Hearing none, the enumerated senators are elected.
Mr. President, I move to nominate and elect the members of the Senate Committee on Climate Change. Mr. President, the chairperson of this committee is Senator Lourdes Nancy Binay, Vice Chairperson Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, members Senator Manny Pacquiao, Senator Cynthia Villar, Senator Panfilo Lacson, Senator Francis Tolentino, Senator Joel Villanueva, Senator Laila De Lima, and Senator Risa Ontiveros. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Chair hears none. Enumerated members are hereby elected.
And there is a request from Senator Coco Pimentel, the chair of the Committee on Foreign Relations, to nominate nominate Senator Win Gatchalian as a member of the committee to replace Senator Nancy Binay. And she has consented to this, Mr. President. I so
Any objection? There being none, motion is approved.
If the additional reference of business is ready, Mr. President, I move for the additional reference of business.
The Secretary will proceed with the reference of business. Additional reference of business.
Additional reference of business, bills on first reading. Senate Number 451, entitled An Act Requiring the Teaching of Basic Road Safety and Comprehensive Driver's Education as part of the curriculum of the K-12 program and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Villa Jr.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Senate Number 452, an act granting additional insurance benefits to all public school teachers, providing funds for the payment of its premiums and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Government Corporations, Basic Education, and Finance.
Senate Number 453, an act granting tax relief to persons with disabilities and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
The Committee on Ways and Means.
Senate Number 454, an act protecting the users of radio frequency identification devices, RFID, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Trade.
Senate Number 455, an act to further strengthen the apprehension against the obstruction of justice, amending for the purpose Section 1 of Presidential Decree Number 1829, otherwise known as penalizing obstruction of apprehension and prosecution of criminal offenders, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Justice.
Senate Number 456, an act providing for a 3,000 peso increase in the monthly pension of war veterans and their dependents, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on National Defense and Finance.
Senate Number 457, an act declaring January 22 of every year as a special working holiday to be known as National Farmers' Day, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Agriculture.
Senate Number 458, an act further amending Presidential Decree Number 442, otherwise known as the Labor Code of the Philippines, as amended, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Labor.
Senate Number 459, an act amending Article 2206 of Republic Act Number 386, otherwise known as the Civil Code of the Philippines, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Justice.
Senate Number 460, an act amending Sections 212 and 214 of Republic Act Number 7160 as amended, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Local Government.
Senate Number 461, an act creating the Department of Overseas Filipino Workers, defining its powers and functions, appropriating funds, therefore, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Villa Jr.
To the Committees on Labor, Foreign Relations, and Finance.
Senate Number 462, entitled An Act Expanding the Jurisdiction of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, defining the prosecutorial powers provided thereto, and amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 9165, otherwise known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002 as amended, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs and Justice.
Senate Number 463, an act providing for the Magna Carta of the Out-of-School Youth, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Public Order? No, Youth and Finance.
Senate Number 464, an act establishing a drug treatment and rehabilitation center in the city of Bacoor, province of Cavite, to be known as the City of Bacoor Drug Treatment and Rehabilitation Center, and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Public Order, Health, and Finance.
Senate Number 465, an act amending Book 3, Title 5, Article 13, Section 483 of the Republic Act Number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, as amended, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Local Government.
Senate Number 466, an act providing for a 10,000 peso across-the-board increase in the basic monthly salary of all public elementary and secondary school teachers and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Civil Service, Basic Education, and Finance.
Senate Number 467, an act creating the Department of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, providing for its powers and functions, appropriating funds therefore, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Agriculture, Civil Service, and Finance.
Senate Number 468, an act prioritizing the agricultural sector in the grant of loans by the Land Bank of the Philippines, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 3844 as amended, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Banks and Agriculture.
Senate Number 469, an act instituting reforms to further protect and develop micro, small, and medium enterprises, amending for the purpose Executive Order Number 81, otherwise known as the 1986 Revised Charter of the Development Bank of the Philippines as amended, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Government Corporations and Banks.
Senate Number 470, an act providing social security benefits for barangay officials and volunteer workers, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Local Government and Finance.
Senate Number 471, an act requiring internet service providers to deliver a minimum standard for internet connection speed, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Public Services.
Senate Number 472, an act promoting environmentally sustainable transport by providing incentives for the manufacture, assembly, conversion, importation of electric, hybrid, and other green vehicles for other purposes, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Trade, Public Services, and Ways and Means.
Senate Number 473, an act increasing to 3,000 pesos the monthly personal economic relief allowance (PERA) granted to government employees, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Civil Service and Finance.
Senate Number
Yes, okay, Finance.
Senate Number 474, an act providing for the fair and equitable allocation of farm-to-market roads projects of the Department of Agriculture, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Agriculture, Public Works, and Finance.
Senate Number 475, an act expanding the coverage of microenterprises as beneficiaries of the Magna Carta for micro, small, and medium enterprises, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 6977 as amended, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Trade.
Senate Number 476, an act mandating the Secretaries of the Department of Finance, National Economic and Development Authority, and Department of Budget and Management, and the Governor of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas to appear semi-annually before Congress to report on the status and directions of the fiscal and monetary policies of the state, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Economic Affairs and Finance.
Senate Number 477, entitled An Act Mandating the Annual Public Disclosure of All Contingent Liabilities Incurred by All National Government Agencies, Local Government Units, Government-Owned or Controlled Corporations, Government Financial Institutions, and other government instrumentalities, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Economic Affairs and Finance.
Senate Number 478, an act modernizing agriculture, providing funds from the annual value-added tax collections, amending for the purpose the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Ways and Means, Agriculture.
Senate Number 479, an act exempting the manufacture, assembly, conversion, and importation of plug-in hybrid electric vehicles from the payment of excise taxes and duties and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Trade, Public Services, and Ways and Means.
Senate Number 480, an act establishing lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersexual, asexual, individuals of various sexual and gender orientations, help and protection desks in all Philippine National Police stations, amending for the purpose Title 7 of Republic Act Number 8551 as amended, otherwise known as the Philippine National Police Reform and Reorganization Act of 1998, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Women and Public Order.
Senate Number 481, an act declaring July 27 of every year as a special national non-working holiday in commemoration of the founding anniversary of the Iglesia ni Cristo in the Philippines, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Constitutional Amendments.
Senate Number 482, an act providing for a rural employment assistance program and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Social Justice, Labor, Local Government, and
Finance. Finance.
I refer this to the Committee on Rules instead. We cannot have more than 3 committees,
Which,
except if
my
it's Ways and
apologies, Mr.
Means and
President.
Finance.
This is the Senate Bill number 482, Mr. President.
Yes.
Under our
482.
rules, if the Committee on Rules allows a third referral, Mr. President, but it must be discussed under the Committee
It
on
must
Rules.
be Ways and Means and Finance.
This is for this Senate Bill number 482.
Or Finance, I should say.
One.
Nevertheless, we refer it to the Committee on Rules.
Committee on Rules, yes, Mr. President.
Senate number 483, an act establishing the Barangay Integrated Development Approach for Nutrition Improvement of the Rural Poor as a linkage program for all state universities and colleges and community colleges and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Soto III.
Refer to the Committees on Health, Higher, Technical and Vocational Education, and Finance.
Senate number 484, entitled An Act Exempting All Vehicles from Paying Toll Fees on Certain Holidays, amending for the purpose Presidential Decree number 1112 as amended, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committee on Public Services.
Senate number 485, an act creating a friendly working environment for women and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committee on Women, Labor. Committee, Women and Labor.
Senate number 486, an act to maximize the contribution of unpaid care workers to nation building, grant benefits and privileges, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Social Justice, Ways and Means and Finance.
Senate number 487, an act modernizing the national measurement system of the Philippines, creating for the purpose the National Measurement Institute of the Philippines, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Soto III.
Refer to the Committees on Science, Technology, and Finance.
Senate number 488, an act allowing the monetization of maternity leave credits of female employees in the covered Social Security System female members and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committee on Women.
Senate number 489, an act reorganizing the COMELEC offices, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Electoral Reforms, Civil Service, and Finance.
Senate number 490, an act amending Section 13 of Republic Act number 3019 as amended, entitled the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committee on Justice.
Senate number 491, an act regulating the use of treatment technology for municipal and hazardous waste, repealing for the purpose Section 20 of Republic Act number 8749, entitled the Philippine Clean Air Act of 1999, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Environment and Ways and Means.
Senate number 492, an act amending Section 23 of Republic Act number 9165, otherwise known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, allowing plea bargaining in certain cases, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Public Order and Justice.
Senate number 493, an act banning the use of firecrackers except in designated areas done by professionals, introduced by Senator Soto.
To the Committee on Public Order and Local Government.
Senate number 494, an act amending Section 150 of Republic Act 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Local Government and Ways and Means.
Senate number 495, an act imposing death penalty in the Philippines, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Justice and Constitutional Amendments.
Senate number 496, an act regulating vaporized nicotine products, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Health, Trade.
Senate number 497, an act enabling the Intellectual Property Office through the National Telecommunications Commission to cancel licenses of Internet service providers that allow websites to infringe or to facilitate infringement of copyright, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Public Services, Trade, and Finance.
Senate number 498, an act strengthening the Bureau of Fire Protection and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Public Order and Finance.
Senate number 499, an act amending certain provisions of Republic Act number 7104, otherwise known as Komisyon sa Wikang Pilipino, Commission on the Filipino Language Act, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Government Organization.
Senate number 500, an act
Civil Service, I mean.
Senate number 500, an act instituting reforms in land administration system, creating the Land Administration Authority and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Cayetano.
To the Committees on Environment, Civil Service, and Finance. There is a second additional reference to business.
Second additional reference of business resolutions, PS Resolution Number 60 entitled Resolution Urging the Committee on Health and Demography or the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the call of a group of doctors, scientists, and health professionals to lift the ban on the Dengbaxia vaccine and to allow its limited private use, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Health.
PS Resolution Number 61 entitled Resolution Expressing the Pride and Admiration of the Philippine Senate to Mr. Raimundo Ryan Pujante Cayabyab, 2019 Ramon Magsaysay Awardee, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Rules.
PS Resolution Number 62 is resolution urging the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the reported alarming state of widespread corruption and mismanagement in the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, PhilHealth, leading to losses and amounting to billions of pesos to the prejudice of our national health insurance and universal healthcare programs, introduced by Senator De Lima.
To the Committees on Accountability of Public Officers and Health.
PS Resolution Number 63, titled Resolution Directing the Appropriate Senate Committee to Conduct an Inquiry in Aid of Legislation on the reported slow and ineffective implementation of Republic Act Number 11203, or the Rice Tarification Act, leading to plummeting palay prices and industry-wide losses gravely affecting our local agricultural sector and farming communities, introduced by Senator De Lima.
To the Committee on Agriculture.
PS Resolution Number 64, resolution directing the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry both in the exercise of Senate's broad oversight functions and in aid of legislation into the supposed fishing agreement allegedly entered into with China by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, with the end in view of determining its legal force and effect, if any, in relation to Article 7, Section 21 and Article 12, Section 2 of the 1987 Constitution, as well as the legal actions available to the Senate as a body insofar as its treaty concurring power is concerned, introduced by Senator De Lima.
The Committee on Foreign Relations.
PS Resolution Number 65, entitled Resolution Directing the Appropriate Senate Committee to Conduct an Inquiry in Aid of Legislation into the implementation of Memorandum Order Number 32, otherwise known as Oplan Sauron, in relation to the recent spate of killings in the province of Negros Oriental in particular and other affected areas, introduced by Senator De Lima.
Referred to the Committees on Public Order and Justice.
PS Resolution Number 66, Resolution Reconstituting the Special Committee on Marawi City Rehabilitation, introduced by Senator Zubiri.
Referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the, before we adjourn, Mr. President, I move that the change referral from the Committee on Rules, this is Senate Bill number 482, can be referred to the Committees on Social Justice, Welfare and Rural Development, Labor, Employment, and Human Resource Development, and Finance, the three committees, Mr. President. I think that is the more appropriate committees.
Sorry, again?
This
which
is for Senate Bill number 482,
Yes.
which was referred to the Committee on Rules,
Uh,
where we can refer to the Committee on Social Justice,
Social Justice,
Labor,
Labor,
and Finance.
and Finance. Correct.
Yes.
All right.
So
Any
moved.
objection? Hearing none. So referred.
Thank you, Mr. President. With that, I move to adjourn session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Tuesday, August 6, 2019. I so move. Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. The session is adjourned until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Tuesday, August 6, 2019.